Hey, New Age Accountants. Welcome to Accountants 2.0. Today, I'm with Ted Williamson, our president, and we're going to get right into it as we always do. This is step two for New Age Accountants, making the client the center of all. All right, so already I can feel the wincing coming through the ether of the internet. Oh, they say,
You mean we're not the most important thing? Like the accountant doesn't think of us as the center of all things? I don't know.
well, um, as evidence shows, the clients certainly don't feel that they're the center of all things in a lot of cases. Um, and I understand it and I sympathize only because you're structured to do a job. You're doing the books, you're filing, you're chasing them for information to do the critical filings, and you got your bookkeepers and your staff geared to provide that service. So what happens is you don't want to say no, but at the same time, when you do say yes, you feel like you're offering a workaround or something special for that client. And then you say, well, how do I remain profitable if I'm going to be offering all these services that are not really related directly to what we're supposed to be doing? Well, they are, because the health of your client's business is important. And you're in a special relationship with them where you're seeing every transaction, you're seeing all their activity. If you don't add that guidance, then you're not differentiating yourself in the market. So how do you do that profitably? Well, it comes down to what we found in our experience is defining core services and core service packages and offerings that are easily identified. You create your operations around that, your core operations, and then you can work towards efficiency and profitability and really knocking it out of the park when you provide those services.
Well,
Well,
I'd like to talk about
yeah,
one small thing right before that.
yeah,
Talking about that is finding the client that you like the most,
yeah,
and how you can relate to them and how you can actually service them well. So the hot button is niching.
mm-hmm.
Or you want a niche, so you want to make sure that you're paying attention to a certain type of client, and in order to make them the center of all, because you can be the center of all to them because you understand them and
Mm-hmm.
you know them and you're giving them so much value because you know them. So like it's super important to first of all figure out who you like and who you want to serve, and then you can figure out how to serve them, right?
Well, that would govern your core service offerings as well.
Yeah.
If you're catering to, like, you're not going to say yes to like bars and restaurants at the same time as I'm dealing with insurance firms and brokers, and then I'm going to deal with contractors, construction companies. Well, okay, those are three niches. That's great if you have the operational depth to create three foci of marketing and infrastructure, but slow down there. Can't take on the world. Uh, Focus on one or two and create a core packages that could define that. But now for the differentiator, and this is where I believe Accountants 2.0 has excelled in conceptualizing this, is you can have what's called, I call them bolt-on services. They're you're offering your core services and you're providing them, but there's other services, and Ted's going to elaborate a little bit on this. Uh, Ted, like a bolt-on service is either offered through an affiliate or a partner that specializes in that aspect, but you can market it as your own or offer it as your own with that. So from the client's perspective, it's almost like a custom. You can create these custom situations without creating an operational strain on yourself.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be that you offer it through your own name, like as it's white labeled. You can offer it on behalf of somebody. So the whole idea of Accountants 2.0 is that you're coming together as a community to grow together. And how do you do that? Well, you can connect to each other. So, for example, my firm that we sold, we offered bookkeeping, tax, tax planning, payroll, things like that. The usual compliance. And what we would do is find a business valuator. We would be able to sell that business valuation services directly for them, or bring on. Before it used to be where you would just refer them, and then the client then has like 5 different relationships you have to deal with.
Mm.
Where you could offer that on to your suite of services, and say that's ABC firm that's doing this, but I'm going to be the one who's going to, be your relationship and make sure that ABC is getting it done, right? So that's kind of how you can offer additional services and different additional products by utilizing the community and making sure that you find somebody you trust. You can bring on their services as your own. You can sell it as your own if they allow that, and if you have the I guess if you have the insurance for that, and if you're able to provide or to offer that within your own firm, or you can offer it as a bolt-on third party instead of bolt-on within your own firm, but it's really a third party doing the work, right?
And it's key that you become the portal because, or the gatekeeper of that relationship, because that's seen as the value added or the enrichment of the basic offering of your core services. So you become more interesting. It's your differentiator. You're now being seen as a unique partner and not just another service that is driven by price and or get it done, or whether you upset them or not by not getting back to them, that kind of stuff.
Well, not just that. So people need different services that are related to each other in order to run their businesses or to be compliant. So why not, instead of having them shop around and get stressed out about that, and find somebody that might not be the greatest the greatest for them, you can bring on one of these a third party who understands your client base. So you have a target market, you have a niche, and now so I offer bookkeeping and tax. I need somebody who can do business valuations for my niche. So I know that ABC company works with my niche exclusively, or works with it on an ongoing very, very often. So I can trust them that they're going to provide a good service. Now those clients are going to look for that business valuator regardless. So what if they find one who is not that great, and then all of a sudden that impacts your business and the way that you deal with that client, because they didn't have a great relationship, or they didn't do something very well, and you didn't trust that person that they went to. Or maybe that person that they went to, that business valuator, does bookkeeping and tax, and now all of a sudden they've been exposed to somebody who does more of what they need. So this might be your favorite client. You might lose your favorite client because you just didn't have an option for them. Now,
that's a great example.
You can offer that without creating all of this complexity within your firm, and that's really the key. Is you don't want to create complexity in your firm. You want to be able to offer more solutions to the specific type of client that you want.
That's a great example. Ted, is there any other examples that you can think of besides, like I say, business valuation? What would be another bolt-on service or something to that from a core offering that you can think of?
Well, things like CFO services. So CFO services is a hot button. Is a hot thing right now, and you can see all these coaches. I actually want to do a separate podcast for this, but you see all these coaches out there. Be a CFO. Be a CFO. Not everybody wants to be a CFO or can, but doesn't mean that you can't offer CFO services. Doesn't mean that you can't find an amazing CFO, partner with them, and bring them on. You can help them with their compliance. They can help you with their with your advisory. Your client gets everything that they need, and everybody's happy. So that is a huge one. Or just advisory in general. Most people go into accounting, they don't want to actually do compliance. They want to do more advisory. So you could actually find those people that do want to do compliance as well. And then, so if you are a CFO, you can find somebody that can feed you business, or you can find somebody that can do all that preparatory work for you, so you don't have to do all that stuff.
Great.
You might not like that. If you want to just be an advisor, you don't want to necessarily do all the tax planning, do all of the tax filing and year ends and all that kind of stuff. You just want to look at the information that's been compiled and help the client make decisions and move forward.
So more than just a bolt-on affiliate gatekeeper, these opportunities offer partnership and much deeper relationships. Because in the case of a virtual CFO, that you'll be working more back and forth with an individual like that, as opposed to offering maybe a technological bolt-on like a reporting service or something, where that would just be a straight up product.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, another thing is big, as you all know, is incorporation services. So I think all of us have been presented with clients needing incorporation services or some sort of annual filing service or some sort of legal compliance where you can actually find, you can have access to owner and just refer them to there, or you can network with a lawyer or an accountant that does some of these services. You might not want to do them. I didn't want to do them. I thought about doing them, and I wanted to eventually do them, and ultimately I just found somebody to help me with those. A lot of times we referred just to an accountant or just to a lawyer or to like owner or to like LegalZoom or something like that. If there was a super simple thing, we usually try to go with a lawyer because it's better for them. But not every client values lawyers as much as they do a simple solution. But either way, you can find somebody like that too. That's a very, very common one that you could bring into the fold.
So structuring this, and Ted, the new age accountant has to basically identify their niche or focus on their core niche, the core services for that niche, and then really think about what those extra services can be, and then align that. So when they're making their offering and proposals, they can take these into consideration, and then it becomes a smooth operation where the client is getting what they want, so they feel that they're the center of all, and the structure is such that it feels custom, but it's not negatively impacting your core operations, and then you don't become a sea of workarounds and side procedures.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so you can essentially grow your income without having to do all this additional work, and help grow somebody else's. So by doing this, offering these like bolt-on services, you increase your ability to earn money, and you give your client a better service. You are bringing on another service provider, another accountant or bookkeeper, to come on board and earn money, and you're creating it's a win all around.
Mm-hmm.
Provided you select the right ones, right? So it's very, very important that you select the right providers to do these bolt-on services. First of all, making sure that they don't have that they're not competing with you in. So I'll give you an example. If I'm a bookkeeper and all I do is books, and my clients need file taxes, well, I need to find I need to find an accountant or a tax preparer or an EA or something like that to make sure that their books are turned into a tax return and their tax return is completed and they're happy. Well, so I'm going to go find an EA or a CPA. I'm going to make sure that they don't care about the books necessarily, or you have an agreement in place, some sort of legal agreement where they will not try to bring those. And if a client tries to engage them for the services that you provide, that they will not, or they'll compensate you or some way with that. So that's really where the complexity lies with that type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's well worth it.
Well, but the two scenarios are: you are scaling to maintain or scaling to exit and resale, but these type of service, I guess, structures are in desire. So that's great. These are really good examples, Ted. I'm at a loss right now. We can edit this out, but she's going to have to clip this out, Arena. But what else do we have to add in this? Well, thanks, Ted, for that insight on having making the client the center of all. That was short and sweet and simple, but at the same time complex in its implications as you picked the service providers and allies that you want to perpetuate this situation of scaling. Sure.
So in making the client the center of all, having a proper system in place, so technology, so your practice management solution, so you can communicate with them and react to them very well, and having a good marketing system in place so that they know that you're engaging with them constantly. You're continuously looking for feedback from them, asking them what you can do better, what things work, what things don't work, and then also just staying engaged with them with your newsletters, with blogs and podcasts, and creating a community for your niche even. All these things are very, very important to make sure that they know that you care and that they are the center of your world. Yeah.
Great. Well, on the subject of podcasts, we're not a one-way street, everyone. We actually are a community. So we encourage you to join us either on LinkedIn or Facebook communities, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay in touch with us as new episodes come out and interact with us. We love to field questions and talk to people. So we learn more and then you learn more too. So until next time, you guys have a great day.